fundsupermart.com.
Hi, do you foresee the Feds QE3 having an impact on the performance of the companies in the precious metals sector?
Yes, I think so. Given the liquidity that is provided by the Federal Reserve, so the central bank of the US, this will have an impact because more liquidity means more money essentially chasing assets, and that generally results in more inflationary pressures, at least in more inflationary, higher inflationary expectations, and that should eventually lead to higher gold prices as well.
What is the outlook for companies engaging in activities relating to the precious metal sector?
Given that we expect that the gold price itself will perform well, given monetary stimulus coming from the central banks, not just the US that I've just mentioned, but also from the ECB in Europe as well as in Japan, and to some extent Switzerland and other countries, we expect that the gold prices will do well, and accordingly companies which have revenue associated with gold, so gold and precious metals companies, will see their revenues increasing, and those should have an increase in margins and should profit from that as well.
The fund has more than 70% of its portfolio allocated to gold. What is your outlook on gold, and what are your views on the idea that gold is an effective hedge for inflation?
It certainly is, because these measures that are being taken by the Federal Reserve are just inflationary on a long-term perspective. We have an overall deflationary trend, which the central banks are trying to offset by providing liquidity to the market. And that should lead to gold prices going higher longer term. And one reason why we have such a high portion of our fund, which is roughly 70%, in gold, is because we believe it makes sense to have gold-related equities in our fund. Gold equities provide leverage because there is a certain cost base associated with these gold miners, means that in an environment where gold prices are rising, gold equity earnings, so the company's earnings, should actually rise by more. And that should lead to positive performance of gold mining companies. And that's one of the reasons, beside the fact that gold itself within the precious metal space is just a huge share compared to, let's say, silver and platinum, why we have about 70% of our assets in gold.
Are there any other investment ideas you are currently positive on?
Yes, in general, silver, although the supply and demand situation doesn't look as attractive, we do expect that due to the lower liquidity of silver relative to gold, in an environment where gold prices are actually rising, the effect on silver should actually be also positive. Silver in the past has always been very volatile, meaning silver prices have rallied stronger than gold prices, but have also underperformed more aggressively compared to gold prices in the past. So given our general positive stance on gold, we expect silver to generally outperform in an environment where gold prices are also rallying.
On the other hand, are there any ideas the fund is not so keen to pursue?
Yes, certainly. The reason being the platinum sector. Platinum is also precious metals, which looks relatively attractive, at least on a short to medium term basis, and that is due to its production being predominantly in South Africa. South Africa is currently having a lot of issues when it comes to production, whether it's the very deep mines that is also very labor intensive, many rather unqualified workers also operating there, which makes all the operations relatively unproductive. You had over the last few months quite some issues when it came to strikes. So people went on strike because they demand higher wages. All that is quite supportive for the platinum price, because if costs generally go up, that should lead to a higher platinum price. But at the same time, given where all these mines operate, South Africa essentially, they all face the very same issues. And that's why an investment in a platinum company, despite the platinum price rising, may not be a good idea, because everybody's suffering from higher costs in general. So we are positive on the platinum price, but we are not so positive on the platinum producers themselves.
Thank you.
You're welcome.